The majority of our business was baking product and taking it to a variety of farmers markets, mostly on Saturday, and then typically just sold those products live to the people that came out to the markets and bought them. Going into all of this, there was a huge movement towards zero waste that we found ourselves kind of in the center of. It was kosher and acceptable to send loaves in their raw state, put them on a bread shelf, send those to the market, put them in a paper bag or even in a reusable bag that our customers brought to market. That really limited the amount of packaging that was necessary for the loaves. And progressively over time, in the last 6 weeks, this became not okay anymore. All of a sudden, we had to package hundreds of orders ahead of time in the bakery. All of our baking times had to be adjusted. Our baking schedule had to be adjusted, and we had to overcome this challenge of baking thousands of items off and then packaging them and having them in a ready-to-go state before they hit the market.
A couple weeks ago, we were making toaster strudels and fun pastry, and this past Saturday we saw demand for pastry just plummet down. Yet even though we increased the amount of bread that we make by 40%, we didn't have more than 45 minutes of bread at any market yesterday.
Our first and most important step of adjustment was communicating with our customers. So in the past, we sent one email a week and that was sufficient. But with COVID-19, we found that if we don't get out in front of this and let our customers know what we're doing and where they can get bread, we will simply just get swallowed in the stream of information that's out there. And you as a small business don't end up having a voice that's loud enough to overcome that. So our message has been one of hope from day one. It's been daily, literally. I'm sending an email almost every day. That hasn't slowed down until this week. The background message was, hey, we are adjusting, we're available, we're here, we're baking in a safe way, we're employing people, we're keeping the doors open, and we're going to get bread to you in any way that we can possible.
We're going to get back to work tomorrow, producing more bread than I think we've ever produced before in a single week. You might see less things like almond croissants, but you will see more bread and you'll see it more readily available.
We prepared for a worst case scenario than we thought we would face. And it turned out that the scenario was worse than we thought it would be, but we happened to be in a pretty good position to deal with that. So to start, we built sneeze guards for all the market tables about a week before it became an issue. You know, I was up till 3 in the morning on a Saturday morning, having to then leave again at 4 in the morning with the truck for markets, quickly putting together sneeze guards. We had a design in mind, and it was part of our ongoing effort to make our farmers markets better, but that project had been slated for maybe 2 months out, and we sort of rushed it through to get it done. The following week, we introduced hand washing stations at all the markets, which was, again, about a week ahead of schedule. A week later, all the markets sort of made that a mandate on the vendors. We removed tablecloths and introduced frequent sanitizing of all of our workstations, again, about a week ahead of the mandate. And then we adjusted heavily to pre-orders. So the first week of March, that first Saturday of March was the last time that we saw live market attendance that was comparable to what we were used to. When it comes to our segment and what we serve, we are very much a local food company using ingredients that are sourced locally and made locally and grown locally. And so we have been driving this message home to our customers that, hey, the situation out there is super challenging right now, but this is an opportunity for you to reset. This is an opportunity for you to take a look at your world and decide what it is that you want to support. We also have to buy our ingredients somewhere. Obviously, we don't have acreage of wheat that we're growing for our own flour. We would love to, but right now we buy our flour. But we buy our flour locally from our local stone mill. I keep saying the word local over and over and over again, but the point is that we started to see a surge in a demand for flour, and I sent a text message to my miller, who over the course of a week or two adjusted the amount of flour that they were milling for us and made it work. It was a relationship, a real relationship.
Hayden Flour Mills makes all of our flour. Right now on hand, I've got pallets of flour. That's the power of local food. That's the power of the local food community.
Meanwhile, we have relationships with industrial mills from the past. Good luck. We would have been out of business by now. In fact, we used to buy flour from a restaurant distributor. We can't buy flour from them right now. You go to the store and there's still a limit of 1 bag of flour, regardless of what type of variety you're buying. The industrial food supply can be disrupted with ease. You get a big surge in grocery demand. You get lines out to the street at Costco, at Kroger, at these national chains. And what happens is that, their entire supply chain is disrupted. Meanwhile, your local farmer is still getting the same food out of the ground, putting it on the same vans, and transporting it to the same markets that they used to. And they're struggling to sell all of it. It's the best, heartiest, most nutritionally dense produce around. And that stuff is struggling to sell. Meanwhile, the grocery stores are selling out of all of the stuff that is being transported thousands of miles. It's not a live product to begin with. It's been chemically sprayed. It's been altered. And that stuff's flying off the shelves. You go to your grocery store and you're standing in long lines. You're in a crowded, confined space, and instead you're going to the market as an alternative, and you can be out in the open air. You can easily space yourself out. You have a better selection of products. You might be paying more, but you know what? This is a time to recognize that real food costs real money. Our customers have recognized all this, and there's been quite a movement towards local in the last 6 weeks as well. In Arizona, farmers markets have been a newer phenomenon, something that has grown up around this young city. Around the world, though, farmers markets have this really historical significance. And so we had to remove every aspect of a farmer's market that was a social event or just a fun thing to do on a Saturday morning and refocus them on essential food needs. What's happening at the global stage is unprecedented and awful. But the excitement that I have derives from the fact that, look, going into this, things were almost a little too easy. It was a little too easy to get that Amazon delivery of your groceries at your doorstep and to be completely disconnected from the food that you eat. Today, I think more people are cooking in their home kitchens. More people are considering the food that they start with before they prepare a meal. And the encouraging thing that's happening for us and for our community is that we believe that people are getting an awareness of who their farmer is, who their baker is, who their butcher is, where their meat's coming from, where their wheat that's growing is coming from, where all of these ingredients are being sourced from in the first place. And so we're very excited to see that trend in particular. We think that that's positive for the long term. And we think that that's the start of a core new local economy that will form, that will strengthen to be competitive against the global food system, as opposed to being just this sub-piece that was almost in the background and hidden from view. Going forward, the path forward for all of us is one of community. We have to make decisions on what's important, what's not important. How do we get the things that are important from producer to end user in a sustainable, still profitable method? And so I think it all starts with that basic core acknowledgement of community.